Hello Primary 3. In this video we're going to talk about the telling time, how to tell time. Okay, we know here that the day have 24 hours. One day has 24 hours. And we distribute this 24 hours to two parts. 12 hours AM and 12 hours PM. 12 hours AM starting from the midnight, so when the day starts till the meridian. And after the meridian, we have 12 hours. It's PM. Okay, so the whole day is 24 hours and 12 hours AM and 12 hours PM that we know from primary 2. We can know the time using two ways or two watches. We have the analog clock and the digital clock. The analog clock is like a circle and it has numbers from 1 to 12, and we use it to know the time, and we're going to learn today how to read it. And digital clock have this hours written here and the minutes written here. So here's the places for hours and here's the places for minutes. So you just write the hours here and the minutes here. Okay, but this analog clock is using a way to write the time. We're going to learn it today. First, if you see an analog clock is like a circle. It have numbers from 1 to 12, and it have two arms, one short arm and one long arm. This short arm is for hours, it reads hours, and this long arm is for minutes, it reads the minutes. So if the short arm is on 1, it's 1 o'clock. If it's on 2, it's 2 o'clock. On 3, it's 3 o'clock, and so on. So the short arm is for hours, just pointed to the hours, so you just read the number. But the long arm is for minutes. When it's on 12, it doesn't mean 12 minutes. It means 00 minutes. When it's on 1, it doesn't mean 1 minute. It means 5 minutes. So it means that the long arm for minutes is skip count. Because it's a long, so it skip counts by 5 each time. So each time I represent this, one of these numbers represent 5 minutes. Okay, so here it's 00 minutes. When the minutes start, it starts at here. And when it's the hour starts, it's 00 minute. And here we have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and here we get in 60 minutes, so we start a whole hour again, so it's 00 minute again, because it's a circle when the hour and another hour begin. I can cut it into two parts to make it easy for me. I will call this part the part that we read, and this is the mirror of it. Okay, so if the clock, the long arm is here on 12, it's o'clock. Okay, and we look at like this. We have the long arm here and the short arm will be on any hour. So here it's o'clock, but if it's on here, it means it's 5 minutes after. So here we have 5 minutes. Here it's another 10 minutes after. It's 3 minutes after the clock. The clock was here on 12. The long arm was on 12 and short arm is on 2. So it's 2 o'clock. If the long arm is on 1, so it's 5 minutes after 2 o'clock. Here is 10 minutes after 2 o'clock, 15 minutes after 2 o'clock, 20 minutes after 2 o'clock, 25 minutes after 2 o'clock, 30 minutes after 2 o'clock, and here's 35 minutes after 2 o'clock. But as you can see, I cut the whole clock into two parts. So here it's the other part, and it's going to reach the 12 again. So it's closer to 12 here, as you can see. So we prefer to say it's going to reach the second hour, so it's going to be on 3. So we prefer to read it using the next hour. So I know it's 35 minutes after 2 o'clock, but it's closer to 3, so it's going to reach 3, so we say it's 25 minutes before 3 o'clock. And here we have 40 minutes on the clock, but it's 20 minutes before 3 o'clock. It's not complicated because it's a mirror. So if you look here, you have 25 after, and this is 25 before. This is 20 after, and this is 20 before. This is 15 after, and here it would be 15 before. And when we say before, we look at the next hour. And here it's 15, so it's 10 minutes before. And here's 5 minutes before, 55 minutes. And when it's go back here, we start another hour. When you read this analog clock, if you have an analog clock in your home, if you can see when the long arm is moving all the way from here to here, it's more faster than this one. As you can see, if you had an analog clock, you can see that this short one is moved slowly. So when the long arm is on 7 or 8 or 9 or on any of these numbers on this part, you can see that the short arm is between 2 and 3, so it's going to read 3, so this is why we use the second hour to read it. This is how we know the minutes. Okay, let's answer these questions. We have here the long arm is on 1, so it's how many minutes? 1 minute? No, this represents 5 minutes, so it's 5 minutes after. You can see from 12 to 1 there's small lines between them, each one of them represents 1 minute. But because the long arm is moving faster than the short arm, so we read 5 minutes each time. And it's 6 o'clock, so it's 5 minutes after 6 o'clock. We have here the long arm is on 2, so you just skip count by 5, or you can multiply by 5. So it's 2 by 5 represents 10, or count by 5 each time. It's 5, and here it's 10. And it's on 5, so it's 5 o'clock. Here we have the short arm is on 11, and the long arm is on 3, so 3 represents 15 minutes, so it's 15 minutes after 11 o'clock. Okay, after we know where the minute would be, and here's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and so on, like this. Now we're going to learn how to actually read the analog clock. Okay, we know that we have 2 parts. This part is called past, and this part is called to. So 2 is a mirror for past. What past do, to do. So what I have in this part, I just repeat it in this part with like a mirror. And here, we stand here at what we start, it's o'clock. If I have an hour like this watch have 2 arms. The long arm is for minute and the short arm is for hours. It's on 1. So this is to represent 1 o'clock. What if the long arm move to this part? So here it's on 1, so this represents 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes after 1 o'clock. But how we actually read it? It's called 5 past 1 o'clock or 5 past 1 for make it shortcut. 5 past 1. So this is called the past part. So I can say just it's 5 past 1. So this means that's 5 after 1 o'clock, 5 minutes after 1 o'clock. And if the long arm is on 2, so this is represent 10 minutes, so it's 10 past 1 o'clock. If the long arm is on 3, I know it's 15 minutes past 1 o'clock, you would say this. But as you can see, this whole part from 12 to 3, it's like a quarter. So we can say it's quarter past 1 o'clock. You can see it like this. It's quarter. So we can say it's quarter past 1 o'clock. instead of saying it's 15 minutes after 1 o'clock. So when the long arm is here on 4, it's 20 minutes. We can say 20 minutes past 1 o'clock, or we can say it's third past 1. Third past 1, it means that this part is like a third, as you can see. So I can say it's easier to say it's third past 1 instead of saying it's 20 minutes past 1. And if the long arm is on 5, this is 25 minutes, so I can say 25 minutes past 1 o'clock, or we can say 25 past 1, 25 past 1. If the long arm is on 6 and you still see the short arm is on 1, so it's 30 minutes past 1, or as you can see here, it's half past 1, because this whole part is look like half of the circle. So it's half past 1. When the long arm moves to this part, you can see if you have an analog clock in your home that the short arm now is going to be between 1 and 2. So it's going to reach 2. It's going to reach 2, so this is why we use the 2 part is a mirror of the past. And instead of saying it's 35 minutes past 1 o'clock, you can just use a mirror. This is 25 past 1 o'clock. Here we're going to say it's 25 to 2 o'clock. So you have 25 minutes to reach 2 o'clock. So it's 25 to 2 o'clock because it's closer to 2. And here it's 40 minutes, but you can look at the mirror and look what's in the mirror. We have third past, so here it's going to be third to 2 o'clock. If it's here, so here we have quarter past 1 o'clock, and here going to be quarter to 2 o'clock because it's a mirror. Here we have 10 minutes to 1 o'clock. Sorry, 10 minutes past 1 o'clock, so here is going to be 10 minutes to 2 o'clock. Or you can say just 10 to 2, okay? And here it's quarter to 2. Here it's 20 to 2. To make it easier, I just write it with the whole details to you to understand it, but you can make it as a shortcut. So as a shortcut, if I put the long arm like this, here it's 5 minutes past 1. As a shortcut, I can just say it's 5 to 2. So it's 5 minutes to reach 2. Here I have some analog clock and I want to read it and write it here and represent it in digital form. So I have here the long arm is on 2 and short arm is on 3. So the long arm is on 2, so it represents 10 minutes. So I can say it's 10 minutes past 3 o'clock, or I can say it's 10 past 3. How I use the digital form to say it? It's easy. The digital form, you only write here the hours and here the minutes. We have in hours 3, and in the minutes we have 10 minutes. So we write 10. It's easy. Here we have another clock. The long arm is on 6 and the short arm is on 9. So long arm is on 6, it represents half. Don't forget that this is 30 minutes, but it's like half of the circle, so we just say it's half past 9. And if you look at the short arm is on 9 and the long arm is on 6, how I write it in digital form? So we just say, we put here the hours, and here we put the minutes. It represents 30 minutes. We have here the short arm is on 7 and the long arm is on 12, so it's 00 minutes, so it's 7 o'clock. And how we write it in digital form? We have here, right here the hours and here the minutes. So here we have 7, we write it on 7, and here it's on 12, so it's 00 minutes. Okay, we have here analog clock when we need to read it. Here we can find the long arm is on 10. It's the other part. It's the mirror part. As we know, this part is called past and this part is called 2. So if you can't read it from here, you can just look at the mirror and see what's at the mirror. We have here 2. So 2 represent 10 minutes. So I can say it's 10 minutes to reach the next hour. We have here, it's going to reach 8. So it's 10 to 8. 10 minutes to reach 8. But how I write it in digital form in this one? Look here, we write here the hours and here the minutes. We here still at 7, it didn't reach 8, okay? So here we write 7 on the hours. And on the minutes, 10 represent, we multiply it by 5, so 10 represent 15 minutes, so I write here 50. Look at the next one we have here. As you can see, the long arm is on 7, so it's the other part, like a mirror. So I have here in this part, I look what's in the mirror of it, it's 5. So 5 represents 25 minutes past, so here is the part is called 2, so it's 25 to reach the next hour. We have 3, so it's 25 to 3. And how I write it in digital form? I look at the minutes and the hours. The hours is on 2, it didn't reach 3. So when I write in digital, it didn't reach 3, so I write the hours 2. And here we standing on 7, multiply 7 by 5, so it's 35 minutes. Let's look at the last one we have here. As you can see, the long arm is on the other part, so if I cut it like this, I look at what's in the mirror is 3, so it's called quarter. Here it's quarter past, so here's quarter to. To the next hour we have is going to reach 6, so it's quarter to 6. And how I read the digital form, it's still on 5, didn't reach 6, so I write here in hours 5. And the minutes on 9, so 9 multiply 5 is 45 minutes. Okay, I have here some analog clocks, but it doesn't have the arms or the hands, so I write it when I read this. So it's 32 2, 32 2, so it means going to reach 2, so it's in this part. And let's see what is the third of this part. I know that here the third is on 4, so the third here must be on 8, because it's like the mirror of it, so the long arm will be on 8. And it's 32, so it's going to reach 2, so it's between 1 and 2, it didn't reach 2 yet. And here it's 45 minutes, so the long arm will be on 45. How we read it? Look here, we have 0 minutes, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, so the long arm is on 9. What about the short arm is on 4, but as you can see, it's going to read the next hour, so I think it would be between 4 and 5. That would be better. Here we have, it's 10 to 5. 10 to 5, so it's going to reach 5. So it's not on 5 yet, but it's going to reach 5. And we have here 2, so the number will be on this part. What we have here on is 10 minutes, 2 is 10 minutes, represent 10 minutes, so and the mirror, long arm will be here on 10. And as you can see, it's 2, 5, so it didn't reach 5, so I will write it here between 4 and 5. And here we have 7:55 minutes, so we write the short arm is on 7 and the long arm is on 55 minutes. How we read the minutes? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. So the long arm will be on 11. And we have here 7. So it's only 5 minutes to reach 8. So it's going to be 8. So I think it would be between 7 and 8. Here we have some story problems about the elapse of time. I want to calculate the time in the story problems we have. Farah woke up early at 7 a.m. So the analog clock was like this. It's 7 a.m. She finished preparing herself for school at 7:45. Okay, so when she finished, the clock was like this, 7:45. So the clock moved, the long arm moved all the way from here to here. Okay, I want to know how many minutes she took. So I was just gonna count how many minutes we have all the way from here to here. So I will count here 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So all the way from here to here is 45 minutes. The next question we have, Adil started to bake a cupcake at 2 and 10 p.m. So the clock was like this. It's 2 o'clock and 10 minutes. Like this. It took only 30 minutes for him to bake it. When he finished, what was the clock like? So I will put 30 minutes to the minutes we have. I have here 10 minutes, as I know that if we in the digital form, this is the hours and this is the minutes. So I add 30 minutes to the 10 minutes we have. So I write here 10 plus 30. So 10 plus 30 we have equals 40. So this means when we finish, the long arm will be on what represents 40 minutes. So what represents 40 minutes on this one? We know this here, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So the long arm will be on 8. And of course, if the long arm is on 8, it's in the other half of the clock, so it's going to reach 3. So it's going to look like this. It means it's 2:45 p.m. That's all for today. Thank you for listening.